Hi again, maple fans. Thanks for joining me, and today I'm going to talk and show you about selecting more maples that do enjoy full sun, or certainly tolerate full sun. So here we have Twomey's Red Sentinel, which I just adore. It's a lovely tree that has a really dense kind of habit, but it really does grow up as a column, and it's only a fairly young chap. He's probably only about 4 years old. But here you can see that the leaders are certainly heading northward and skyward again, which is actually absolutely what this tree loves. So very good if you want height, but in a small space. So what you can see on this tree is, I haven't got it on a full sun all day type scenario, but it does do reasonably well actually. And I think part of the reason for that is, if you look at what happens, occasionally some of the leaves get slightly burned. It may be that there's droplets of water on them or whatever, or some issue. But I think with trees like this, it is so densely packed that if a few leaves sort of get damaged on the outside, there are so many underneath, it's just crazy. So a little bit of leaf damage here and there won't really cause a problem, to be honest with you. It did get a little bit dry actually the other day, so I did notice it needed a drop of water, so that might actually have been a small factor here as well. But in general, this one, as it's a typical witch's broom actually, with this sort of curved top again to it, a bit like the Shana I showed in my previous video. It's a sort of classic genetic defect that you can see in some of these remarkably interesting maples. But yeah, Twomey's Red Sentinel, I mean, I don't like generalising, I really don't. The red maples tend to do slightly better on average than sort of the yellow Shiroswanums and stuff like that, but there are always exceptions, but that certainly sort of sticks to the rules. So another one moving on here, which I've got on this side this year, this is Acer dissectum filigree. And again, it's rather like Siriu actually. It's sort of a slightly similar. It sort of weeps over more. It's slightly slower growing. But again, looking at these leaves, they adapt really, really well to the sun. So inner leaves quite green inside here, and then at the tops, it almost tans itself. It's sort of, they change when they're exposed to the most sun in order to protect themselves, no doubt. So it's about the chlorophyll balance inside the trees. From what I've read, I'm no expert, but they contain 3 sorts of chlorophyll, and it's the combination of them all working together which gives you the particular colour of the cultivar that you've got, and the way they're actually reabsorbed by the tree and the root system, which changes the colour of the leaves and gives them their wonderful autumn colours. So really, really dead important. But a lovely tree nonetheless. Really enjoy this one. It's quite delicate, quite spindly sort of in nature, but does like some sun. Now actually, because I've got it in partial sun during the day and then a bit more shade, like it's just happened now a bit later, you can see that you get a nice colour variance on it. Whereas ones you keep in full shade all the time, for example, will be more uniform. But yeah, quite happy with that. Another one that's been fairly bomb-proof this year, and it's a fairly new tree to me, is Okushimo. And again, I wonder whether it's quite sort of resistant, because the little curled over leaves just do really well. And as I mentioned on my previous video, it doesn't sort of bounce around everywhere. It kind of springs back fairly quickly. It's quite a stable tree. It hasn't got branches that sway around in the wind, sort of generating higher speeds. But this little fella is quite rare actually, and hard to find, and I have no idea why, because I really love it. And again, a bit like Twomey's Red Sentinel, it doesn't mind a bit of sun, and it grows really vertically. So that's grown amazingly well. And last year, I promise you, it was probably only this big. So that's just crazy. The amount of growth is amazing. So moving on to Jerry Swartz. Now I have not particularly read anywhere that this is a maple that likes full sunlight, but you can see it gets a lot of it. I mean, I mean, some of these trees, like this one lower down, you can clearly see it's more green. But if we just bend that back and examine the tops, no problem at all. I'm not going to say it's been a fantastically sunny season here in the UK, certainly not the last month. But June was really, really nice, and yet it's been fantastic. But what says very short is it's one of those trees that if you keep it in too much shade, it will all go green. And I've seen these out and about. In Westonbirt there's one, but it's very, very, very shady. And it doesn't like it. It just doesn't develop the colour particularly well. So Jerry Schwartz, very popular. I think several people around the world have said they bought this tree because they've seen mine. So I suppose this one's a little bit famous, really. But yeah, really enjoying a dose of sun. So this tree here, Katsura, I'm just going to throw this in because this is in a bit too much sun, really. So, you know, just for the sake of completeness, this is starting to burn, and it hasn't been a particular hot month, as I've just said, really. So just as contrast, some people are wondering, well, what are we talking about? Yes, they've got a lovely shade of red, but in actual fact, it's kind of gone too far. So that's one that we need to keep an eye out. Same with this by Who, actually. It's always a close run thing, but this one isn't really a sun lover because it's against his fence. It's in shade nearly all the day at the bottom, but it gets quite a lot of sun at the top. So you develop these different colours. But again, we're probably just going a bit overboard there. It's one to watch. Anyway, back onto the ranch with sun-tolerant trees. This is Bloodgood. Again, an absolute classic, magnificent tree. You see these kind of everywhere, and it's one that in the garden centres, if they're sensible, they'll leave out in the sun, and you see out and about in the arboretums I visit, and they just do really, really well. It's the sort of great granddaddy of some of the other cultivars that we've looked at, because you know that's they've kind of been found growing on these or whatever. Which is really rare, but quite a find. But again, lots and lots of sun on this tree. The top part here literally has had sun. It's above my fence, so it has sun all day long, particularly, and it just thrives on it. Not a problem at all. And the last one I want to focus on is Sangukaku. So if you follow this channel for any length of time, you'll probably understand how much I love this tree. It has the most amazing coral bark, which just gets pinker and more lovely in the winter, so you get that all year round effect. And again, I haven't this year, I've moved it quite recently actually, but it's been full sun. It's been in full sun most of the year. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, there's a little bit of crisping on the ends, but like I said, that's going to wobble around quite a lot and get blown around by the wind, so that's part of the factor. But in general, it's well worth losing a leaf or two to develop this lovely colour. So again, if you overprotect this and put it in look after it too well, you'll just get a green tree with lovely pink bark, and there's nothing wrong with that. But with a bit of adaptation, and just being willing to sort of let them out in the sun a little bit, I think that really helps. I think there's also something to be said as well, that if you overprotect the trees and never expose them to sun, they'll never sort of become acclimatised to them. So, I mean, you know, that's a very slow and gradual process. But I think if we can not over mollycoddle them, that can actually be quite useful. Worth mentioning as well as a general tip, I mean, when the tree gets to a bit of maturity, and there's a going green here, which is again going over a little bit, but it's done pretty well. These higher leaves will protect the lower ones, so it's much less of an issue if there's too much sun, inverted commas, because there's plenty of foliage there to absorb the light and do very well actually. Whereas obviously if you've got little trees and they're being baked, that's really not so good. So again, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope that sort of helped you make some decisions about what trees you might have in your garden. Even if you've got a south-facing garden, there's still plenty of choice out there. And once again, don't believe what you read on the internet where Japanese maples have to be have afternoon shade. That's generic advice. It's generally true, but it's certainly not the same for all cultivars. So with a bit of research, or you can always ask me, leave a comment in the comments if you want any advice. Some of the best ones actually are the ones that like full sun, so I wouldn't be put off by that at all. Oh, did almost forget one as well, so we'll just hold that thought. Mikawa Yatsubusa is renowned to be fairly sun tolerant, but I have to be honest, in my case we have a little bit of burning on the top, but nothing too major, nothing too serious. But again, because it's so stiff and it's such a taut little tree with a load of foliage on it, maybe a little bit of burning on the top, but below it there's lots of lovely green leaves to kind of ready to step in if necessary, really. Very, very lovely plant, Mikawa Yatsubusa, and there's many variants of them. There's far more variants I've seen in America actually than we have over here. But if I see any more types, then well worth getting. They're very slow growing. This tree's about 6 years old, but he's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so that was just a bit of an extra freebie there, and we'll no doubt see you in another video soon. I think I'll have a look at some of the other types of trees and how they do in sun that when they don't do perhaps quite so well, really, like the Shiroswanums, but we'll wait and see. Take care. So I really hope you're enjoying the content of these videos. If you are, if you could like and subscribe to the channel, that'd be fantastic. And please hit the notification bell as well, because that way you'll know when I upload more. I'm really, really pleased with how things have progressed, and this little channel sort of growing quite nicely, really. So thanks to all those that subscribed already, and a special thanks to all those that ask questions or, you know, have ideas, and please let me know if you want any more different content, because we can do that. And I hope to see you soon in another video. Cheers.